over from 5 p.m. to 5:30. Like it was 4 p.m. meeting, but it went over to 5:30. So
Good
it's like,
times.
I got to shower. I got to eat. I have a presentation at 7. Like, yeah, could you look over that pull request? Like, I got a presentation.
All right, well, I appreciate you fitting it in.
Oh, no, it's great. I'm happy to be here, and I'm not presenting on the thing I originally scheduled, but like
Hey,
I put a
whatever.
lot of work into this bot over the past couple weeks, and like I just found myself drawn to it. So it's like, yeah, just whatever you're drawn to, right?
Yeah, totally. Work where the energy's good. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, another SacPy. Let's see. Last time, like Violet, you were pointing out there was some extra characters in there in the link for the
It's
Zoom.
good this time. It's good this time. It worked.
Yeah, I think that was probably a major drop off point in like maybe the last two. I don't know how that got in there, but it's kind of funny because it's just like Python, white space was killing us. Like one too many spaces. No. All right, we're starting to get some people. Hey, Amran, welcome. Mr. Lockwood, how's it going? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, Amran Din, that is a new name. Welcome to the party. We usually collect here for the first 10 minutes or so. It's almost 7 o'clock. Jim, you got any New Year's resolutions?
That's a good question. No, I don't have any like quick jokes to give you a reply to, and quite frankly, I don't really make resolutions. I kind of revisit my resolutions every week or two.
All right, he does new paycheck resolutions.
Oh, there's always paychecks. It's just
No, just like make a resolution for like the next 2 weeks and then revisit.
Yeah.
Instead of annually.
Yeah, I'm an agile entity.
Okay, I feel that.
Do you have any resolutions?
This year is I'm trying to write code every single day.
Cool. The Seinfeld method.
That's the Seinfeld method?
Yep.
And the Seinfeld method pertains to what, like comedy writing or something?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just write stuff. Yeah.
To anything, but yeah.
Right.
I'm definitely at the just like lip service, get into the habit of pushing stuff to get at least once a day sort of thing. I haven't had any, breakthroughs in terms of like, I wrote like 5,000 lines of code in a day or something like that.
Oh no, it's all about consistency, right? Like some days you'll feel it, some days you won't, and it balances out, and you end up at the end of the year, 365 days of that, and you'll just blow yourself away.
Yeah, that's my hope at this point. Oh, we got another person. Welcome, Matthew.
You go into gallery view.
Yeah, I noticed there was now an arrow.
There you go.
Do you use object-oriented Python, Woody?
I try to. Let's see. Most recent was doing also a Discord bot. We were doing a voice channel bot that was it would parse the audio stream and create a text transcript. And then the use case we had was I was in some podcast server for Lex Friedman, and there were a whole bunch of people talking all at once. There was 40 people on a channel, and everyone was getting really excited, and a number of F-bombs were dropped, and Lex kind of said like, whoa, hey, let's make a rule here. Like, if you say the F-bomb more than once in a minute, something happens or something like that. But like, I'm not saying don't say it. It has its applications and all that, but you know, let's cool it. Let's try not to have such high frequency. So I was like, hey, let's make a bot for that. He's like, if you want to, it might take a while. We found some framework, and basically like making using the stream parsing element as an object, like instantiating that. Like you could do that like using object-oriented programming. It made it a little easier to like encapsulate. I don't know if I'm using encapsulation properly, but to basically like organize my code so that you've got all those streams being parsed per channel or something like that. I don't know. I guess my answer is like, it depends. It seems like it's a good idea. Hey, Dan, how's it going? What else we got here? Earl, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome, Zoo. Did we get everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Happy Thursday, people.
Hey,
Welcome, Emma. Ooh, all right. Dan's got a good background there.
Core. That's really a good one. I have to get my background up. Let's see here.
Yeah, does everyone have a silly hat this time?
Here we go.
It might be a lot to ask. Oh,
Yeah. SpaceX.
oh nice. SpaceX hat.
Can't wear it with my.
All right, 7:04. We'll give it a few more minutes to let people gather.
Is this silly hat night?
Yeah. One night we'll do silly hats only. I don't know how you'd enforce that, but whatever. Done heard spell jokes. Let's see. Some new names and faces in here. Oh, hey, welcome, John. You just got in here. Oh, nice hat, Mr. Lockwood.
Thanks.
Let's see. I'll put someone on the hot seat. Earl, what are you working on in Python these days?
I'm working on. I work for a medical company, and I'm using Python and PyTorch to find interesting stuff in medical images. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What kind of medical image?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound?
Yeah.
All right. I was looking at, I had some friends working on MRIs. They were doing segmentation and then like quantification of cartilage. And they were working with like companies that were making cartilage stuff. So, all right, we got some more people. Hey, Frank. Sorry, go ahead, Earl.
Yeah, the PyTorch stuff, when we trained with ultrasound image, it was just effortless. The algorithm had no problem finding the stuff we were looking for. So it works really well.
That's kind of cool. And so who do you or your company work with? Are you working with pharma companies, or are you
we make ultrasound machines.
You make the machines, okay.
Yeah, we make the machines, and and we put these features on the machine now. So
oh, you're building like the identification right into the machine?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think GE is another competitor. They have a AI built into their machine also. So it's a hot thing that's going on in medical.
Very cool.
How'd you get how'd you get access to all the training?
Yeah, very very big deal. Yeah, you have to get access and through HIPAA and all of that, it's a very big pain. But yeah, everybody has to sign off on an agreement that we can use that type of data.
Mhm.
Do you know how many training samples you use?
We used about 50,000 images to train with, and we have 12 different things we're looking for, and yeah, so about 50,000 images. And yeah,
That's really not that many.
it's not, no. And with all the augmentation and all of the extra stuff that goes along with it, you know.
Do you use generative networks at all to produce more training data?
We do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Emma, what are you doing in Python lately?
Me? I'm actually going back to Python. I've been in TypeScript for about 18 months and I got a new job and I'm switching back to Python. I did Python for 4 or 5 years before doing TypeScript.
Okay, you're on the hook now, Emma, because I want to find out what the differences between TypeScript and Python are.
Well, Python's
What
better.
are the similarities?
Well, TypeScript's good. I don't hate TypeScript, right? If you use it right, you can enforce your types and catch things as compiling errors, which is really nice. But I kind of like Python better. We'll see.
As do we all.
Are you using Python 3?
Yes, I will
Okay.
be.
Yeah. Are you writing with type hints, like type hinting?
I do not know. Is that something you recommend?
Dog.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's like with TypeScript, you can optionally enforce your types, and if you're like using an editor, there's benefits to giving type hints on, say, function parameters. You do like, here's the parameter name, colon, a type hint, which is like, hey, this is a string, or this is a float, or this is a instance of an object. And then your, like your editor can give you intelligence as far as you hover over something and it knows what parameters, it recognizes the type of object.
So here's a question for you. When I switched to TypeScript, I started using VS Code, which I really like. Before that, I was using PyCharm.
Mm-hmm.
Does Python and VS Code go well together, or should I go back to PyCharm?
I use VS Code with Python every day.
And you like it? And it's good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I really like VS Code. It's been nice.
Yeah, stick with it. You like interactive debugger you can use. Yeah, I mean, there's benefits to having types, and with Python 3, I recommend Python 3.8.
Okay. I'll have to see what they're using. I was doing 2.7, back.
Yeah.
2.7 isn't supported anymore, right? Is that
no,
correct?
It's not supported. No new updates to it. But yeah,
it was a good one.
it was. I used a lot, but yeah, 3.8 has. I mean, type hints has been in for a while, but 3.8 has things.
All right. Well, it's 7:11. We got another person in here. Hey, how's it going, Celine? I think we'll get started. Welcome everyone. It's 2021, off to a crazy start. Let's get this show on the road. So welcome. Another edition of SacPy Online. It's January 7th. And I think this is the anniversary of me taking over for Josh. He headed off to Tennessee this time last year. All right, so code of conduct, much easier to enforce online, but our meetup group is dedicated to providing a harassment-free community experience for everyone, regardless of gender, age, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion, or lack thereof. We do not tolerate harassment of our community members in any form. Sexual language and imagery is not appropriate for any venue, including talks, workshops, parties, Twitter, and other online media. Community members violating these rules may be sanctioned or expelled from the community at the discretion of the community organizers. Thus far, we have not had any problems, and thanks to everyone for that, for being cool. But yeah, all right. Hale, our glorious founder, he shows up every once in a while. I don't think he's in here tonight. Try to get him around. He shows up for the online ones. Turns out those are easier than in person. That's Josh Miller. I think he started us about 3 years ago. But yeah, I took over a year ago. It's been fun. Okay, take a moment here. Oh, I'll get out of the way of the QR codes. We can put some links in the chat as well, but we got 2 chat channels that we're in. One on Slack, SacTech is a company in the Sacramento area that has a little channel for us on Slack that a bunch of us are in. It's 160 or so. And then I've got a Discord for my production company. Figure we might as well have one of each. Mostly the same stuff in both.
Yeah. Hey, Woody, I looked for the SacPy channel on SacTech, and I couldn't find it.
No?
Yeah, I made my own, but I couldn't find the existing one. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well,
you can click on the plus sign and you can create your own private channel and then figure out. Okay. Oh, okay. So when you invite me, then it magically shows up.
Well, it's anything happening sufficiently fast enough appears as though magic.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Robert, you just joined.
We found him. We got him. All right. And wait, you're in the Discord, right? Yeah, we were on that the other day. All right.
Yeah, and going back to the mission statement, if you scroll up, you'll see that in Holland we appear as the gay and lesbian social.
Oh yeah. Is that the mission statement? I think that's more like the preview. I don't know how that happened, but in Slack, yeah, if you post the link to the most, well, it's at least it was like the most recent event, like this meetup link was like the Amsterdam LGBTQ group. So yeah, if any of you guys are from there, welcome in. Yeah, I mean, everyone's welcome. Guido's from Amsterdam. No, he's from the Netherlands. I don't know if he's from Amsterdam.
Holland somewhere.
Yeah. So Python's for everyone. So whatever. Anyway, you can find us also on Twitter. I tweet occasionally on SacPy. There's a couple of people on there. Maybe maybe it'll be one of those like if you build it, they will come things. We'll see. I got a Reddit as well. I'm still really wary of that because I'm pretty certain it was Reddit that was responsible for the first Zoom event. We got Zoom bombed. I don't think William's in here. Is William here tonight? Anyway, he was moderating the people coming in, and he said there were like 50 people per second coming in at a certain point. It was crazy. So I think they came from Reddit, so I'm a little wary of that one. We're also on Facebook. We got a group and a page, so like us, follow us. I'm not certain of the difference these days, but apparently both happen now. I don't know. Do some stuff with OBS. I mostly just put a little SacPy tag on my thing because Zoom recently added this thing where I can put my slides as my virtual background, which is pretty sweet. And this is recording to YouTube. We're live on YouTube. We'll have a link for that later. Yeah. So here's the kind of like Brady Bunch of us from a bunch of the last few events. I like to do a photo. So if we could do that right now, that'd be great. This is a good time to get your mask out. And if you got one close at hand, put on a silly mask or a silly hat. Awesome mask, silly hat.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm gonna make this big.
Where is it?
I like the theme music. That's pretty good, Robert.
Okay, so show of hands, how many people whistle silly tunes while they're working?
Awesome. Okay, I think I got all the photos we're gonna get today. Awesome. All right. We'll start a new one for 2021. That last one we got there is the amalgamation of online events. It got a little bit better at the end. I think it was a little funky while there. All right, so first up, we have Violet back again with Discord bots. Am I correct? It is you're gonna be doing the one on the Twitch management?
Yeah, I have one on Twitch and I have one on Discord.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but like it's a Discord bot and you do stuff. Oh, never mind. They probably have their bot platform. Anyway, Violet does cool stuff. So I will hand that off to Violet. Stop sharing here. Just make sure you. Oh, that's.
Okay, now I can share my screen. Screens, plural. Share. Oh, geez. their Windows selection interface. Okay, I want that one. And that one. And that one. I'm not sure what you're seeing right now.
I see a terminal window. I see a Discord window.
You see 3 of my windows at once? Do you see a presentation?
I do not see a presentation.
I just
There
see.
we go.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know if I can hide the sidebar. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to start off with my Twitch bot because that's what I spent the most time on. I'm going to move this over here so I don't look like I'm looking up into the space. Okay. So yeah, I started off. So I was originally going to do.
Alba Jorn says, Commanderot, welcome to my channel.
That's my bot working. I don't know if you can hear it. So originally I was going to do mainly a Discord bot integrated with something called Evenia. So Evenia is a text-based game platform framework written in Python on top of Django. It allows you to make your own text-based games, and it has the whole engine to itself, and it has this nice command line interface. So it's Telnet. So I'm running it locally, and you can connect to it over Telnet. I would not use this remotely, but you can connect to it locally. I suppose if you don't put anything security important on it, you could connect to it remotely, but who knows what kind of stuff you're going to want to do in a game, text-based game. So you can connect to it, you can log in, and what I did is turn it into a Discord bot. And that is not my Discord bot. Or is it? Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Okay, so if I, this is my bot, and I'll start it from scratch. So this is where it is right here in my Discord. Hopefully it's big enough for you to see it. And so if I say help, then it automatically logs me in. So I become, this is like your username, but I programmed it automatically so users don't have to manage their user accounts. And so I have it printing out what it would say if you were to type it in to the telnet. So this is two different terminal windows, and this is the bot right here. It's printing out everything as if you were typing it into the Evenia bot telnet. And then I translate it and bring it over to Discord so that people can interact with Evenia through the Discord bot. And there's a lot of like nice, pretty formatting stuff. And actually, it was quite a hassle to get that to work in Discord because there were all these like command characters that were making it really impossible to read. But so once someone makes a game, they would be able to interact with it through here. And I believe if I did it, I set up the tutorial world, and it says, right, begin to start your quest. So begin, choose an option to try help. Let's see, intro. Whoops. Oopsies. Okay, well, I'll have to join the world, join the bot again, because I accidentally logged myself out. Then help. Okay, there we go. There's the commands I'm expecting. So it'll tell you about the tutorial world. So anyways, so this part that I'm not actually sure how to use, that's the Evenia bot itself, or the Evenia interface itself, and I'm not entirely sure how to use the Evenia interface. But assuming you know how to use the Evenia interface, this is just interfacing with the Evenia so that if another user comes in here and tries to use it, it will log them in as a separate user, and then it will keep track of everybody's different logins, and everybody can interact with the Evenia bot. So I don't know everybody wants to see the code, but okay. So it's about 430 lines. And let's see if we can find the main section, telnet. So process Evenia. So here we create the telnet command so that Python can connect to it locally, and then just do some user stuff so that users don't have to maintain their own connections. And then we have some, let's see, it handles long messages because Discord only supports up to 2,000 characters per message. So we deal with that. And then we deal with all these control characters that make pretty colors in the terminal, but that mess up Discord. And
you have the editor open? I'm not sure if I can see.
Oh, you can't see it. Ah, yeah, I'm really confused by.
I can see your mouse moving around, but I couldn't.
Thank you, Zoom. Thank you.
I see the terminal and then a browser window to GitHub.
Thank you for letting me know. How do I share an actual window? Advanced? No. Files? No. Basic.
Maybe if you stop share and then try to share again.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Down at the bottom, there should be the share button, and then you pick which window you want to share, or there should be an option to share your whole screen.
Yeah, I want to share one of my screens.
Um,
Stop share. Share screen.
Yep, that's it. That big green one.
Hey, what's up, Julius?
Hi there. Sorry, this is my first one.
Long time, man.
Oh, hey, Woody. Yeah, sorry. You caught my attention perfectly on one of your Facebook posts, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, nice. Good timing.
I think I might understand.
But yeah, nice to see you again, Woody.
Text me.
Yeah.
Discord.
Good to see a picture of you.
There's one more thing. Oh, you can't see my screen right now, can you?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
You're looking for a terminal window? I think that should cover it. So I think you should be able to see my text, my code now. Is that correct?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, for some reason I can't just share a whole screen, so I have to select individual windows. Okay, so this is the code that handles all the control characters from terminal that make the pretty colors in terminal, but that make your life miserable in Discord. So I get rid of them, and I try to do some reasonable like translation by at least highlighting them as though they're code, and then handling long messages, because Discord only allows messages up to 2,000 characters, and then handling users, and this is the local telnet connection, and yeah. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if I should move on to my Twitch bot, which I think, because the Discord, the Evenia Discord bot is really just so far, just a very simple integration, communication between Evenia and Discord. It's not all that interesting. My friend was intending on writing a sci-fi world game, and presenting that at a conference, I believe this month or next month, but we haven't gotten to meet on the details. However, I have been working on my Twitch bot. So does anybody have questions on this bot?
All right, so multi-user dungeons, the MUDs or whatever. Are there any quintessential examples of them that we might recognize? I mean, I know of the concept of one, but I don't think I've ever actually like played one.
I don't actually know. I've never played them myself. I've just heard about them.
But the idea is like they're text adventures, and then a bunch of people can be interacting with the world or something like that. And
I've played them.
Is it PvP, or is it everyone's kind of against the environment, or how do those things work?
Well, they're multi-user dungeons. I think you see. I don't remember. Can you attack other people? Like there was a cool one that I used to play where, it's an online. Yeah, it's an online multi-user dungeon, and I mean it says, hey, you're in like a clearing, and you can go north, right? You type in north, and then you can, it says, hey, there's a cottage, and you can like go in the cottage, and like a goblin might jump out, and you have to you have to defend yourself from it, something like that. I mean, it's scary when you hear
so the multi-user element doesn't it's not like the present concept of like multiplayer. It's more to do with anyone could log in, and this adventure could be served to like anyone who logged in or whatever. So
well,
tons of people
because there can be other people in the same area as you.
And like affecting your experience.
Yeah, I mean, you can. You can team up with other people. Say a dragon appears, and you can both fight it. You can you can like cast a spell on somebody and put them in your like magic pouch, and then I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's not like head-to-head sort of PvP, but like, Dungeons and Dragons where, you've got party effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this sounds like it's a text adventure, and it's clocked, right? So that it's not like things are happening in real time. You're waiting for each player to make a turn, right?
There
Some,
might be
not always.
ones. So
Like
I believe
I remember one spot where you walk into you go into a new area and like it all of a sudden it popped up. You hear a rustling and then like and all of a sudden something jumps out. It's a combination of kind of real time and interaction.
There's some like classic text adventure, Zork.
Yeah, that's an old one. Yeah.
I don't think it's multi-user though. It's I think isn't it just single player?
How about the one
that's a single player. I'm just kind of wondering, like, is that couldn't be a mud then in this case?
The thing mud like I can think of is like that intro of Matrix where Neo's talking to Trinity for the first time, where he's just all text-based chatting.
Okay. Oh, interesting. That's a good one.
Yeah. Like I believe there are real-time ones where you're like doing combat, and I know they can have like combat engines that allow you to like hit or something. I guess if it's not real time, if it's turn by turn, then it would be like the original Pokemon Game Boy games. But yeah, I think there might be real time. I'm not sure. Haven't gotten that far yet. So far, I've just done the integration. So
I heard the hitboxes on muds are just garbage.
The what?
I'm just kidding. Just the hitboxes. Sorry, jokes.
I get the good joke.
So let's see. So I think I've gotten. I think my Twitch bot is a little bit more fleshed out, and somebody that I moderate for is streaming right now, so it's actually spitting stuff out, and it did a text to speech a few minutes ago. But I'll get rid of I'll take my bot out of that channel so it's not loud. Okay. So if I bring my bot back up, and then I bring up my Twitch. Okay, you're probably not seeing my Twitch. Let's see. Screen share. Nope. Twitch, there we go. Okay. So you should now be able to see my Twitch and my Twitch bot on the left and my Twitch chat room on the right. Is that what you're seeing? Maybe it'd be helpful if I view this from my phone so I can see a copy of what y'all are seeing. Okay, so
Violet Revenant says, hello.
So I don't know if you're able to hear that, TTS. Yep. So whenever a user types something in the chat, it brings it to text-to-speech. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with streaming, but usually you're not staring at the chat while you're streaming. But usually the point of streaming is to get people chatting and saying hello and what's up. So like, it's really difficult to remember to look over and see if someone's chatting, especially. So there's people who have like, you're lucky to get a viewer, and then there's other people who consistently have viewers, and there's other people who literally just have people like talking so quickly that you can't even see what people are saying. So this is like better for those cases where you just have a few users or very intermittent users and you're interacting with them. So you can keep up with what they're saying, and usually you're on audio, so that your users can hear you when you're talking. So you'll hear them over text to speech, and then you'll respond, and it creates this really nice, friendly, interactive environment, which I've seen some people who they don't like they're streaming, but they don't even realize that someone has said something. So then like 5 minutes go by before they even respond. So this is just closing, really like shortening the loop so that you can interact with your users. And then I put in all these messages. It's printing all these numbers because for some reason my Twitch bot kept freezing. It would stop interacting. So I think
Violet Revenant.
Yeah, so it's still working currently, but for some reason it was cutting out. So if and I'm probably going to have to select this for sharing again. So I think that's it. So you should be able to see my Twitch code, and this, it's about the same length, 450 lines. So one of the really cool things I've gotten a chance to do with this is implement user tracking, user event tracking. So whenever a user sends a message, whenever they join the channel, whenever they leave the channel, it's actually logging and recording what they're doing. I believe you can see my terminal. Yep. Okay. So I did it in SQLite because I don't want you to have to install any big complex things. I'm not sure if SQLite works on Windows, but it's all Python code. So if it works on Windows on Python, then this will work on Windows. I also used a cross-platform text-to-speech library, PyTTSX3, and so I haven't gotten a chance to test it on Windows, but it should work on Windows as well. And then SQLite onto the TwitchBot local database file, and then schema to show the tables and indices, and then select star from viewers, which keeps track of everything that's going on recently. And there we go. Okay, so I kept track of the channels because my bot is in multiple channels. It's in Sniper Girl, Albiorn, and Violent Revenant. And then these are all the users who are interacting. And then this tries to keep track of current actions, most recent actions. So we've got first seen, last seen, or most recent seen, and then last exited. And then we have the events table. I kept this nice command here, so view all events in order. And we have all these activities. So the message that I just sent a minute ago in the channel, hello, and then it'll do my text-to-speech. Oops, I have to turn my bot back on. Okay, so if I go back, say hello.
Violet Revenant says, hello.
Don't know if you can hear that. And then if I select from here, should say 74040. So there's a brand new message that popped up. So it's logging to this database, and it's nice and relational. So we've got viewers, or wait, history, which has begin text, which is a timestamp, channel ID, and event ID. So the benefit of this is that you're not going to be making, you're not going to be like the same username and channel. You're not going to be making this massive table with the same username and channel for every single row. Instead, you're going to get an ID, an integer ID for each of those, and saving a bunch of space. And just join to see that. And the benefit of this is that you can do analytics on your users. So you can keep track of who interacts, what time people interact, how many people are viewing you at this stream time versus another stream time. So the same friend that I'm working with on the Discord bot, I'm also recommended this feature on my Twitch bot. So I implemented that in response to them recommending that feature, and I'm excited about what kind of user analysis you can do from all this data. Like, I haven't been running it very long, but apparently it already has a bunch of stuff in it. Some of them are just bots. A lot of bots like to come and go over and over and over again. So maybe I'll add some filtering for ignoring certain well-known bots. For some reason, they like to sit in the channel. Are there any other interesting features I should mention? Too many windows.
I have two questions. So one, you mentioned streaming. Are you talking about the when the system doing the text to voice, then you stream that audio?
Oh no. So streaming is like you're often playing a game and streaming it. So I believe someone is streaming right now. So I think you can see this. This is someone playing virtual reality and setting up a virtual world. Yeah. So they're not saying anything right now, but so if I were to go in this person's channel, I'm currently hosting them. So my channel is showing their screen. If I chat, they won't be able to see it because I'm chatting in my channel. But if I go to their channel and chat, they would be able to see my messages. This is the same person that I usually moderate for on usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. But she's on a Thursday. So yeah, so people play games, people do chats. I've even heard of people just streaming themselves sleeping. So yeah, whatever.
Does your bot handle the streaming?
So the bot is only specific to the chat, and the bot assumes that you're streaming, so that it's useful for the streamer themselves so they can interact with their users more easily. So I'm like making this tool for someone who's streaming, and my girlfriend streams and my friend streams. So like it's kind of what pushed me to put so much work into this bot, because I have two people who are using it or who can use it potentially.
Second question is what's the event system or library you're using? I didn't see that in your import.
So that is Twitch.io. Twitch has its own Python library. So from twitch.io.ext import commands, and then commands to make the bot. And then from there you can do @bot.event to add event listeners. So this is like event ready is when you first start the bot up and it joins a channel, or when it goes online, I guess. And then it has, this is all my database stuff, event message. So every time someone types a message, it intercepts that so that it can do stuff with it. Like another thing I forgot to mention, it works intermittently, or it's because like I play with the bot sometimes, so it keeps seeing me, so it doesn't like to greet me because it's like, oh, I already saw you, I don't need to greet you anymore. But I also added, that's the point of the viewers table, keeping track of how most recently we saw somebody. So if it sees somebody, it's for the first time recently, it says hello. If it sees them for the first time ever, it says like, welcome to my channel. If it says, if it sees them within a predefined amount of time, then it says welcome back or hello again. And then if you keep messaging over and over, it keeps resetting the timer, and then it just doesn't greet you again, so that you don't get all these spammy bot messages.
So which timer is controlling that?
So, so I record in the database. Let's see, in the database file. So if I select star from viewers, so we've got this last seen field here in the viewers table. So whenever we see a user either enter the channel or send a message, we check how recently were they most here. And there's one more. Let's see. And I also have an environment file, which I just realized there's a password in there, which I don't want to stream to Twitch or stream to YouTube. But let me see, get Twitch testing. So if I grep-v oauth, so grep-vi oauth m.txt. So, oops.
Uh-oh.
Oh well, I'll make a new one later. IE token, and that it still wants to. I missed a character, that's why. Okay, there we go. I'll make a new password later. So, keep track of the owner. Okay, the thing I was going to show, regreet minutes. So at 180 minutes, so that's what 180 divided by 60 is 3 hours. So if it sees the user 3 hours, more than 3 hours later, it says welcome back or hello again. And if it sees them within 3 hours after they after it already greeted them, then it says nothing. And if it sees them for the first time, so yeah, did that answer the question?
Oh, for me it did, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, also, have you thought of putting the initialization part of your code into a singleton so that it's sort of not a completely exposed set of global variables, you know, in your module?
Here you mean?
Like all this stuff. I'm not sure if.
Oh, like how much of a mess it is, and how it doesn't follow good coding practices.
I don't know how much you want to engineer this, or it's just one-off code.
It's growing faster than I'm taking good care of it. So I have like, originally I was using a library called envbash, if I remember correctly. The problem with that is I tried to run it on a Windows machine and it blew up. So I actually did make it cross-platform as possible to run on Windows, although I haven't tested the text-to-speech. So I am focusing on cross-platform. However, the coding practices are leaving something to be desired. So yeah, if you want to suggest ideas, I know you just mentioned singleton.
Yeah, just that design pattern. I found it's pretty useful for, you know, putting stuff that's, you know, researchy global into something that's lazily initialized and only lives in one spot. And nice thing is with the singleton, it's initialized once, and at least for that specific thread or process, it's usually not going to be clobbered or called again. And with any kind of code, there's all these caveats, but it works pretty well for me in my experience.
So it is, so I make a dictionary here, and then I go through the lines of the environment text file, and I parse them out like key equals value, and then
right. No, that's not the issue. It's just that maybe if you like import this as a module in some future sense.
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure that would ever happen.
Oh, okay.
This is meant to be run. This is meant to be run and not imported. I can imagine separating out the database code and reusing that somewhere else. But with regards to like most of the bot code, it's literally just shove it all into one file and run it. Like that's kind of what makes sense for the bot. But yeah, some of the other stuff I can see pulling it out. Oh, I can't hear you. See,
No, I
lips,
didn't say
lips
anything.
moving, but no sound. Oh no, Jim is trying to speak. I saw lips moving, but no sounds. Uh-oh. Can anybody hear Jim? Is that just me?
I don't hear anyone else.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What
Sorry,
is?
Jim.
I don't see his as being muted right now.
No, yeah, you're not muted, but we still can't hear you.
Huh?
Mic switch.
Yeah.
That's all right. Snafu.
Just don't forget your idea before you say. Like.
So this is pretty cool.
This was going in and out. Is this any better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
now.
we can hear you now. Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Oh no,
no.
It went out.
Oh, no worries.
Oh, we heard you that.
This is why I switched headsets. Is this still here? Can you hear me?
We can hear you right now.
Yeah, you're good, Jim.
Okay. So I'm not going to move. So this is why I got rid of the headset. When I look at this, I'm not seeing any classes.
Classes. Yeah.
And what I recall with singletons in Java was that a singleton was a class that can only be instantiated once. And you use that to establish global variables that would be, and also as a control, because all the other classes can be instantiated multiple times and might reflect different records in a database.
Config stuff.
And I'm wondering why you would need a singleton if there are no classes here.
Ah. That sounds like a question for Tom.
Well, well, I'm looking at the global stuff, the stuff that isn't, deft away, right? And my use case is for imports. You have something, you're importing a module, even in the absence of classes. If there's stuff that lives in a global space, if nothing else, even if its effect is inert, it takes time, especially if you're, say, in my experience, loading up a big honking mess of data. Something like that, you'd want to just do it once, especially if it's something that doesn't change. And I'm speaking right now because it's fresh in my mind, is the New York Times COVID data set, for instance. I'm making some kind of workflow to take the data from computed on a supercomputing cluster and push it to my server. And now the old code, it involved just a lot of global variables. And so basically in practice, when I called that functionality in a module, that data would get reloaded constantly. Because I wrapped that stuff in a singleton, now it's only called once, and it persists, and every single operation that effectively accesses that data is now very quick. It doesn't involve a reinitialization. So in practice, in lots of cases, maybe it's not really necessary, but if it's sort of something I find useful so that I don't get into situations of it takes too long to reinitialize the data, or I might be clobbering stuff that exists globally because it's no longer, so to speak, global. It's just in one spot and it stays fixed.
You're using it for caching. That's what you're suggesting. That's what I took from that.
Yeah. Caching and no clobbering.
Yeah, so that problem is not going to apply here because it's instantiated once and then it's just the dictionary is used everywhere after that. The way that the bot code is run, it's so. Let's see. You import twitch.io.x commands, and then from there, not too much longer later, except for I put all the. There we go. So here we have bot equals commands.bot, and then you use stuff from the environment variable to initialize stuff, and then you see this bot right here is used throughout the code to make the bot. So you make the bot, and then you're just attaching a bunch of stuff to it. So you have to have the environment variables at the very beginning. You can't initialize them. I mean, I guess if you were to make a big rewrite, then you could somehow put them down here. But the idea is you're putting together your bot. This whole file is like building the bot. This is like a series of instructions for building the bot. It's not like a nice big class file. I suppose it could be. Like the code that a lot of the bot code is coming from a class file, which now looking back, I realized there was a bot like class that you could probably override and probably make it a little bit nicer. But with the way that the tutorial I followed, which I believe, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I followed these two, this tutorial here. I believe I have a window here, which you can see. And it is acting strange for some reason. I try to reload it. There we go. So I followed this tutorial here, which gives you a very basic command and gets you up and running, tells you how to set the authentication, and yeah, but the way that they do their code is very like linear, like, okay, here's the code you need to start, and then here's the code you need to add something, and then like they just keep plugging stuff onto it. It's not like all nice and clean. You basically like just copy code out of here and keep pasting to the end of your file. But yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
that's why my code is a bit of a mess. But yeah, it would be really cool to make it nice and like a class and do all the environment stuff.
I'm just thinking, I'm a big fan of don't make your code more complicated than it needs to be. Things like what I'm thinking of is if you have some other Python code or Python functionality that calls your bot directly through Python. But if it's all handled, if you're both speaking the same, if the Python's speaking the same language as your bot, then that's an irrelevant issue because it's basically speaking to an address that follows a Twitch convention. It's probably REST underneath the hood, and so something like that. I'm sure this is fine for. I don't mean to do anything. I think this is perfectly all right. I was just unsure on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go.
Yeah, so a lot of it, like I see the desire in wanting to be able to pull this bot somewhere else and being able to call it, but it's async code, so it's listening for events, and I've tried to use a command line Python debugger with async code, and it does not go well. It complains about awaiting your callbacks, and then you try to create it, and it doesn't work. So,
yeah,
like,
GDB isn't designed for async stuff. This is true.
Yeah, I mean, I like to write clean, nice code, but it's anyways, yeah.
I saw you have async. You just speaking of async. I didn't know. I came from Node.js, JavaScript. So I don't know. Like I thought Python is like a synchronized thing. Then
Vanilla
how
is,
could
yes.
you mix the async with the sync?
I actually it's the Python async stuff is brand new to me. I presented a bot about 2 months ago at SacPy, and that was the first time I had ever encountered async in Python. I believe it's pretty new. And I know there's the GIL global interpreter lock, and like without looking into it, I would say off the top of my head, they're probably faking it. I don't know if anybody knows better than that.
It's not multi. It doesn't mean multi-threaded.
No,
it means
when run on a single thread.
Yeah,
it's just there's a scheduler, I guess, at a low level,
a
smart scheduler that says, okay, this process in a single thread run for this amount of time, then wait, and then other processes as they come along. I think that's what it is at a lowish level, but don't quote me on that.
I mean, it's like an event queue. Like if as events come in and it lets it, like if it has it lets it do like do different things. Like when it gets to an await, it can the scheduler, I think it can run other things like
I guess it pauses it, or I have no idea, because
it's waiting. It's like this. It's waiting for the channel to send out or receive, and so while when something is received, then that can run, but it may not be. You may know not like if two things are waiting, you don't not necessarily know the order.
I don't know if there are locks and other semaphores in async IO, because it is a species of multiprocessing, right? And I guess if you want order or basically identity, you need stuff like that. At least what I've seen. I come from MPI and multiprocessing land.
Yeah, it's not if you it's not gonna let you make, like, if you have CPU intensive process to run, it's not gonna run those any faster.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's for IO limited stuff.
Network calls and rating, mostly network calls, but file call, reading and writing to file systems.
So don't use async IO on your computational fluid dynamics code. You'll just give a lot of overhead and it'll run a lot slower.
So why would you use async await when you handling sending listening to this event versus the rest of code you sync, you're doing the synchronize? When are you synchronize for the event? Is it the callback in the callback nature, or?
It's like it's a shorthand way to do a callback. I mean, it makes it so you're not in like, you don't have to write callbacks. You can just say, it's like, send this, and then it lets Python, Python runtime do something else while it's waiting for that to send those bytes over the internet. And then once it's done sending, this returns. Like if you had a function, if there was something else after a wait, once that send of that, sending those bytes over the internet was done, then it would continue on to the rest of your code. Or this, in this case, this function would return itself, because you can wait for this send function to go. This is a send function around a send function.
I guess, is there a pool for async IO? I guess tasks or processes. I'm not really sure about it.
There is like a task list. It's like the tasks are managed by the runtime. Like they had, like Guido had created like a just Python version of, earlier version of this with, like before it was async IO. I forget the name of it, but you know, it's like uses event loops. So, you know, it's all in the same thread. I don't know if that helps. Like it would let this code respond to things while other things it's waiting for other things to send that to be sent out.
So one way I've used asynchronous Python in the past, Zoo, was I made a bot that did administrative work in a client relationship management software. It was for sales. We sold solar, and I worked with the dialing team, people that were dialing the leads that we had, and they'd get a list of leads to dial, you know, 25, 50 at a time or so. They'd do each call, they'd take notes on the call, and then hopefully they'd do some administrative tasks to make sure that things were getting filed appropriately. Say you call a number and it is a person that doesn't want to hear from you again. You want to make sure that ends up in the do not call. And then you call a number and it's the wrong number. You know, same kind of list. You want to put it in the wrong number bucket. And then if you got someone that's interested and they want you to follow up and you propose the time and they accepted it, you want to put that in appointments. And so the bot would go through and look at a completed list and make sure that all the things were, you know, scrubbed nicely. The do not calls were in the do not call. The wrong numbers were in the wrong number. The appointments were in the follow up, and so on and so forth. And there was a bit of lag time every time you called a ticket in the system. A lead would have a ticket assigned to it, or it's every time you called a lead in the system, and then looked at the recent activity and saw, okay, this one was called. They connected, so there was some talk time. There's some notes on the call. There's some decision, and there's some action that has to be taken in the future. You know, you want to make sure all the proper steps are followed. And so the bot would just kind of go through the same kind of like logic that Violet was talking about earlier with like the greeting stuff. There's just a whole bunch of, you know, random forest type stuff. Like if, you know, it's this status, do these checks. And so I used async because I would start and await for every single one of the tickets and kick off a loop, and they'd come back at different times. Some would have more information because, you know, there's more notes or something like that, and you know, each thread was kicked off, you know, in series, but you know, the seventh one would come in before the first one or something like that, and so it would complete the scrubbing for that lead, and there would be 50 calls because each call list was 50. And I don't know, it saved me a little bit of time. Sometimes I understand asynchronous programming can allow you to save a whole bunch of time because there'd just be a whole bunch of things you'd be waiting on that could otherwise, you know, be multitasking.
It lets it be more responsive. Like this can like probably see somebody typing in a message while it's still, you know, can receive that message, you know, that information, and while it's.
I know that, you know, UIs do that all the time. GUIs. Without it, you know, GUIs would be worthless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, any other questions for Violet? Cool. Well, thank you.
So what's the runtime on this bot? How long does it run for? Or
it just
runs only
indefinitely as long as you want, indefinitely as long as you wanted to, or until it crashes, I suppose. Your battery runs out
in a loop,
or your internet dies. Yeah, it's on a loop. It just got it still running here. I believe you can still see it. Yep. But like it is marking events happening and messages coming in, and yep. So I hopefully, if it didn't crash or freeze or whatever.
Violet Revenant says, hello.
I have it in another channel right now, but I took it out of the other channels, so otherwise it would be bugging us right now, going on and on with people chatting.
One of the tricky things about writing asynchronous code with Python is you've got to be very explicit about, you have to choose where to wait. So you have to you have to kind of judge what things are important to wait on. And it's easy to write code, like write blocking code that, you can kind of ruin it by, if you use do a network call that you're not awaiting on, it'll block other things from happening while that's happening. So it's just, it takes a lot more skill to write.
And a lot of the logic has to be, in my experience, encapsulated into the task. That is, it's much harder to carry around or like refer to state outside the task with asynchronous multiprocessing code. You got to be, or especially asynchronous code, got to be a lot more careful about that sort of stuff. That the logic of figuring out how to do it and how to clean up, a lot of it has to be handled by the task itself.
Oh yeah, because if you're accessing mutable state outside of your function, at the module level. Well, yeah, one thing might mutate it and in the middle of another thing, doing something. And if you do have long running computational code, it's like, do you use yields every, say every 10 iterations of the thing?
My code to download TV shows, for instance, thinking of putting it on a celery task, a worker, instead of having it block. You got to be careful about that.
I technically have just a few slides, which looks like it's, nope, that window's not showing. Let's see if I missed any.
Yeah, we got your terminal and a Twitch window.
There we go. So, oh yeah, introduce myself. I'm Violet. I lived in Sacramento up until December 18th. I moved to Portland, Oregon, currently living in an Airbnb. I'm about to move into my first house rental ever in Vancouver, Washington, tomorrow.
Oh, congrats.
So I covered text-to-speech. I didn't even cover plugin commands. So I added an ability to, there's a directory. There's a directory here called plugins. Yep, you can see it. And you can see this Discord here. So if I cap the sample, it just says, hello, send to the channel, hi. And then this is just linking it up to the bot. So when the bot imports this, connects it to itself, then you can use it in the, so if I say hello, and it says hi, there we go. And then I also made a Discord chat thing, so it'll print out, if you have a Discord server, it'll print out your link so that people can join your Discord. And then user event tracking, yep, cover that. And then, yeah. That covers everything.
Very cool. Well, thanks again. Another cool one. I might need to bug you about the Twitch bot because somewhat.
Oh yeah,
it's one thing. What IDE are you using for this? For your development?
This is TextMate, Mac OS only, but it's the thing I like about it is very simple. It doesn't try to do your coding for you. It's basically like a whiteboard. So, you know, it just lets you think and actually do your work without being bugged. It doesn't autocomplete except for like, if you see next to date time, like DAT, I hit escape and it automatically completes date time. Aside from that, it's not like, yeah, I like it because of its simplicity. It's not getting in your way. It has plugins. I've written a lot of my own. Yeah. If I were to use a smarter IDE, I would probably use PyCharm. Oh, cool. You're on mute.
Can you? I'm not muted, am I?
No, Robert. I saw.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. So how many people use PyCharm?
Not currently, but I like it.
I use Emacs.
Liking it counts.
I've heard good things.
It's very impressive. Like, it's very large, and you would expect something so large to like get bogged down or be really messy or, you know, just suck. But it somehow they just do a really good job. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna complain about it. So one thing that they can improve on is the way that it. So when you're doing web development, you're jumping back and forth between Python and HTML, right? And the links for going between Python and HTML, there's obvious things that you would expect. And for example, in the action for a form, you can't do that. And that seems like an pretty obvious thing to want. So I'm gonna have words with them.
I have a question about PyCharm. Is it possible to do a remote load of filing remotely? That is, your IDE and session is on your local machine, but your code lives
on
remotely.
The server, right?
Yes.
That's like an obvious use case. And
PyCharm can't do that.
It says it can. I haven't gone through and tested it, but yeah, that's something I need too, because you know, being able to debug it on the server is very useful.
So what I do is I use SSHFS. So I make my computer pretend as if it's on the other computer. So I've got like a remote folder mounted locally, and then I open it up in my text editor locally, and then I have another window that's just SSH, and then I just go to that window or a pane window, whatever tab, and run the code from there. So it's like everything looks like it's local except for it's all remote. So SSHFS is awesome. I don't know if you use Linux based, but that's my
yeah. Okay, so I've never heard of SSHFS before.
Yes, it's pretty good when it works.
Well, if you lose internet connection while you're connected to something, and then you try to get your internet back, and then it'll be unhappy. But I've
Okay. So is there like some awesome tutorial which is like get started using SSHFS in 5 minutes?
It's actually very easy to get started. I think it's just a command. The easiest way is SSHFS is a mount command.
It's a file system. It makes it act just. I think it would make it act just like another file system.
Oh, okay.
Or directory or folder. Like,
so you'd use it the same way as you would at NFS or something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, that's why I use Emacs. There's a mode called trance, so it's great for all my code lives remotely, but I'm working from my local machine, and so I can edit and manipulate, and in some cases run the files, all from my local machine, and it's fairly painless that way. But like all of this stuff, it's great when it works, but there are failure modes. A lot of the failure modes are pretty severe. too.
You and your bird seem really comfortable with each other.
Yeah, he's kind of just chilling, you know. He loves hanging on my glasses, chewing on some wood. Actually, he loves these wooden coffee sticks. He's gone through a whole packet of them today.
This is a non-talking bird, right?
No, he talks. He says his name, Jumbo. He says pretty. He says, you're so cute. He started to say, what are you doing? Right now he just wants to chew.
Right?
He's great if you don't want to, you know, use a fingernail cutter. He'll go through your fingernails. You know, it's just like you know, those helper birds on rhinos. It's sort of a symbiotic relationship.
Did you get him a patch?
There you
go. What? A patch?
A patch
no?
for like a pirate.
Well, there wasn't, you know, Halloween this year, really. But I figure, yeah, I guess I could get a patch. He wants to be part of the conversation.
You're muted, Woody.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's getting a little late. I wanna give Robert his due course for his part of the evening.
Cool.
Cute bird. All right, Violet, you've got that. All right, just a moment. I'm gonna do a real quick thing here.
There we go. Cool.
Robert is up next with package management in Python.
Yep.
Does anyone not know what package management is?
Know it too well. It's called dependency hell.
Yes. All right. Well, if you're not
okay, so I'll go ahead and start.
About to know.
Alrighty. So share screen. Boom. All right. So. So originally I wanted to have like the complete guide to all packages in all languages. And then I decided to kind of trim it down to like, okay, let's say I've got some code that I want to be able to access from regardless of what my current directory is, right? So how can I make that into a package? And then if I have something that I want to share, well, how can I put it up on SacPy and share it and impress myself by the fact that I have a package on SacPy? And so I came across this Real Python article, how to go about publishing an open source Python package. What they did was they took a small sample project. This is like a reader. It reads from their XML feed, and it's got this code, so a few tests, a setup file, and a manifest file. And right. So when we look at, is this it? No, gotta go up. Right. And so here we see the structure of it. And the thing that does all the installation is this setup.py file. And so from this, you can see that the magic is in this setup tools library. And all of the information that goes into the PyPy page is here in setup, right? So you got your name, version, description, categories, the list of dependencies, and finally the entry point, where it actually starts. And so when we go in, so let's see here. So this has kind of different notation. So this is like a namespace, I think. And this is the folder, this is the file, and this is the function or method within that file, right? So that's where the setup code for that package is actually located. So does anyone have any questions as to like what things they want to know about packages that they don't already know?
Is that's demonstrating because that console function setup, you could type in real after you like do pip install your package, then you can just type real Python, and that will call the main function in your in your package, like that main function in your package.
Yes, I believe that is.
Yeah, that's the case. And are you familiar with the -e syntax with pip?
Pip-e, no.
It's very useful. Say you're developing, your modules, your big ass functionality. Call it an SDK if it's more than 3,000 lines.
Okay.
But you change one thing. You could do a pip install -e and the directory name, basically the top level of your module, and it will it'll update your code. So for instance, if your other code that imports modules from your distribution will work with the updated changes. You don't have to do a full delete then reinstall.
Install your local package into your like Python packages. It'll update that.
Yeah, I think what it works is it's some kind of, instead of pointing to some copy that lives in .local lib python blah 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 or the global directory, it's actually pointing to the directory in which your code lives. So there's like an egg or whatever egg info file, basically some way of telling the Python packager, oh yeah, it's not an actual copy of the stuff that lives in local lib. It's actually a symbolic link to where you're developing or you're making modifications to your code. And so the big benefit is you make some small changes into your big code base, and you just do a pip install -e on that, and it'll update it automatically. I mean, any other code that then does the standard Python import of that module will now work with the updates.
Oh, that's good.
And after you make a change to your code, do you have to do any pip command again, or
no?
Okay, it's just linked it to your local code. Okay, good. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's effectively a Python package symbolic link. That's how I think of it.
That's good. That's useful. Can you go back to that setup? The setup.
Sure.
I mean,
let's see here. That's
we see a blank screen right now, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the setup. I was asking. Can you scroll down to the bottom there?
Where the entry points?
console scripts. So you could have, it's like it wouldn't, if you had more than one thing in list in the console script, it would install that. I see. So on line 35, it says real Python equals reader.main main function. So you could say you could have a package that had it has the real Python command, or it has fake Python command, and each one of you could have those call different functionality in your library.
Oh yeah. This is basically saying, okay, this creates executables that are installed either as a local, in a local directory, or into the system directory, or you can give flags to pip or flags to setup.py that say, okay, don't install in those standard places, install someplace else. But yeah, it's designed to create executables that then you can run from the command line.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The console scripts is for creating executables.
Yeah. Like
that's what it's
where he at the prompt it showed typing real Python, and then
real Python is the executable.
Yeah, right. That's what they're doing in this case.
And another benefit of this, using setup.py is that in the old days before I started using this, a big problem for me is, okay, the code inside my big module, which consists of submodules in different directories. The big question is, okay, where is the same page? Basically, where's the top level directory for importing stuff? With this, install-e command, the nice thing is this process of defining imports works on your code too, the code inside your module. So you can use the same syntax, like import, the actual name of your module dot, every subdirectory or submodule inside your code. You don't have to worry about, performing an appropriate sys path import to get everything to work. And so that makes my development a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's sort of a night and day difference. So if I have something that consists of more than a single, Python file, if there's actual structure in the code I develop, I always like to setupize it so that now I don't have to worry about, proper imports.
Right, exactly.
And then, Taneem, are you then having your own embedded Python within that executable, or are you using the Python that's running externally in the system?
Yeah, the external Python.
Yeah, you're
the global Python.
It's not be building a big compiled executable.
No.
It's just basically.
Nope. No.
When you type in real Python, and it's gonna just execute the Python in your module with the environment with the Python that's in your environment.
Yeah. It's, for me, a huge game changer.
Okay, well, that's the extent of my presentation for today.
Really nice.
You didn't even talk about you want to compile Fortran with Fortran code with F2Py wrappers. Which
is that something you do a lot?
Case. Occasionally. I do it so occasionally I forget exactly what I needed to do to get it running. But
what do you do with Fortran?
Well, if you've got some rugged code that's lived forever and it runs very well, You use F2Py if you want to create a Python wrapper to it, basically, so that you can import it, just like you can import any other Python module. And it'll, you know, consume NumPy arrays and spit out other NumPy arrays, but faster in some cases than what you could do with NumPy. And this is a niche case, but it's like specialized Fortran code that isn't covered by using NumPy, but is very fast, and it's been tested because the code's run for 50 years.
Yeah, I know people who still write COBOL for batch jobs, but I didn't know anyone still wrote Fortran.
It's still big in the high performance computing community because it does work and it doesn't break.
So, are there new languages on the horizon that could actually rival it, like maybe Rust?
Maybe.
But those have to be written.
It has to be written and tested.
And tested, yeah. Right.
Then if the Fortran code's already been written, it's been tested for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Does Fortran have memory leaks?
Yeah, it can have memory leaks. I mean, dangling pointers and stuff like that. Definitely Fortran code I write, you know, from scratch will have stuff like that.
Right.
But if I'm doing that's why I tend to do basically, here's this black box Fortran code with inputs and outputs, and I just create a mapping basically from, you know, NumPy to Fortran and vice versa. So it's basically a black box. It works given, you know, well-defined inputs and outputs, and I just hook up to it that way. I tend not to write my own Fortran code because it's a very, I mean, like all low-level languages, it's got its idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off.
All right, so Taneem, you've had some really great comments so far. Thanks for all the contributions. I'm curious, what have you been working on lately in Python?
Oh, well, there's the work I do at Work, which is a lot of high performance computing stuff. It's you know, using Python on data sets that start at a gigabyte and get larger than that. So one of the more useful things I've been doing, and by useful I mean other people also use it, is stuff to look at these basically binary graphical data sets, which are HDF5 underneath the hood. And I just have something that, instead of going through this relatively unwieldy code, it, you know, just goes through these graphical data dumps, or I would not just sure to call it just graphical dumps. They're actually data dumps because this is like, you know, computational fluid dynamic fields like density, pressure, temperature, all that stuff, and composition, and spits out a NumPy array representing the mesh and the, you know, the field values on the mesh. And I find, you know, I and others find it useful to do that, to figure out, okay, well, where's the shock located? Or, you know, this region is hot, exactly where the hot spots are. Others are, okay, I've got this basically Monte Carlo transport problem, and it spits out data in a certain format. And I have code that I've developed both myself and with summer students to process that data and visualize it for you know, my or other use cases. Now there's some hobby projects I'm doing. The most recent one is this COVID-19 statistics tracker. So what it does is it, you know, slurps the New York Times latest data set and creates movies and, you know, images of, basically the trends of COVID-19 deaths and cases in regions you define. It's I've gotten states, the continental US, the metropolitan areas that are defined by the US Census Bureau, and presumably lower level at the API level, there's a functionality to define your own regions to create plots of those. I actually have some output if you guys are interested in seeing it. I guess I could share that with you.
Yeah, Robert, you mind passing that off?
I mean, it's fine. It's really up to you guys.
Turn this.
Yeah, there you go, Tony.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Let's see if I know how to share my screen. How do I view meeting? Start share, right? Okie doke. There we go. So let me go back. Oop. See. All right. I want to see something that might be the CONUS, for instance. Let's look at this one. So this is just one of the data sets I've created. The way this works right now is the data set is created on a supercomputing cluster at work. I mean, it's processed on a supercomputing cluster at work. And then it's actually copied over to my local machine. And right now I'm hooking up some functionality so that it will actually update a blog article that I have. That's a running update of, you know, COVID cases and deaths in regions that I'm interested in the US.
I mean, is that just showing the progression of where cases have popped up?
Cases and deaths, yes.
Holy shit. Excuse me. I mean,
yeah.
How's the data?
It doesn't look so bad because
is that counties?
Yeah, those are counties that are shown.
So that just showed it marching. It just showed it going across the country.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Los Angeles County in California is the worst place now. I think it overtook New York City sometime a month ago. Yeah. And so right now, if I have to, you know, I have to manually update the blog entry or my Git repo, which has a README part that consists of the latest data, or actually it hasn't been updated since June. But, you know, the thing I'm thinking of using is, okay, copying the data over, and the copy happens through, you know, basically my Flask server. That is, it's a RESTful post command to my Flask server with this 60 megabytes of data. And what that'll do is it'll trigger some kind of Celery task. That's how I envision it. That Celery task is going to be the thing that says, okay, this thing has been downloaded, right? You know, copy it to the appropriate directories for the blog entry, you know, basically update those files and update the article with basically say the latest case and death counts and the date, you know, at which this thing was recorded. And so I'll have a, you know, running tally of what's available right now. There is also one improvement I could make. You can see the lower left corner. The curve doesn't look so bad, right? But it's logarithmic in scale. So what I'd also like is a similar video, but showing a linear progression of cases and deaths from, say, May 1st. And it would be a similar linear scale of cases and deaths, you know, after, you know, May 1st to the latest date, because that's, I think, you know, much more serious thing to visualize. That's one of the things I'm doing. The other is, I think, just downloading, you know, NPR programs I'm interested in. Hence, you know, a few months ago, I had a conversation with the guy at Capital Radio about why the hell doesn't NPR's, API work anymore? Because it's made my life a lot more difficult. They used to have a working API.
Okay.
That was James Tejada.
Yeah, that's right.
The guy
James
that
Tejada.
presented from Cooperative. Yeah,
that's right.
funny.
Yes.
For managing like those kind of reoccurring tasks and like the flow of what happens is you might be interested in Apache Airflow, which lets you write directed acyclic graphs that basically lets you piece together like you can trigger them, have events trigger them, and then or like go on to like check something every so often and then like run a task, and it shows you, has like a nice administration interface to it. Helps you manage those kind of things.
Yeah. This stuff there's unfortunately a lot of restrictions on the flow of data to and from the supercomputing cluster. I don't think Apache Airflow, the S word, unless it's something, S word is sort of a curse word there. And by that, S word is, a server. So if they don't have Apache Airflow, actually there, it's basically impossible to get something like that working. So actually what I had to do to get a RESTful, data consumption is use SSH tunnels to connect, local port on the cluster, or at least one of the nodes of the cluster, to port 443 on my HTTP server, Flask server, and transfer the data that way. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with SSH tunnels. It's a really nice technology. It just says, well, you can't connect directly to this external machine, but maybe you can SSH to it. And so you can't connect, by that I mean you can't connect to the port directly, but maybe you can SSH to it. So instead, you create a tunnel connecting the local port, to which you have access, to the remote port, which you now have access, and then now you can communicate between them.
You're talking about. Are you talking about the -L flag?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's very useful.
So awesome! I love it. I've been using it constantly, and even doing that on one machine, and then doing that again from that machine to another machine.
Proxies, hippity hoppity. Yes, it's great. Because because maybe you can't even SSH directly from machine A to C, but A can SSH to B and B can SSH to C. So you can do a proxy hop from A to B and B to C. So you can set up basically an SSH connection alias, I'll call it, from A to C, given, basically a proxy command. And lo and behold, you can now connect A to C. And again, maybe some ports aren't open or accessible to you because you're on a VPN. So you just, for instance, I want to listen to my music on my Plex server, but I also need to do work, which requires a VPN. So I have to have the VPN on, but with that, basically proxy and SSH tunneling, now I can listen to music, playing off my server through my local work machine speakers.
Nice. Now, as far as I understand, you can only do that for a specific port.
Sometimes technology is useful, Yeah.
Do you know if you could attach an entire subnet as though it were like a VPN or something, or can you only do that with one port at a time?
I haven't tried that. I work based off necessity, so I have a VPN which I need to use to do my work, basically to access the supercomputing clusters that I use. But with that VPN, I can't do lots of normal connections. I can't HTTP or HTTPS to a lot of machines I would like to have access to.
Oh, you can. You just have to make another tunnel for each one.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yes, which is what I did.
Forward. Yeah, and if I know that a machine I can SSH to successfully can access a website I want to see, but my machine can't access that website, then you can tunnel that port from that website through the SSH connection. I did that the other day,
true.
so I could access my home. What is it called? My home pfSense NetGate device through the VPN.
Mm-hmm.
I have my home office partitioned off from the rest of the house, but if I'm on my VPN, I can connect to my VPN and then I can access the web panel through that from anywhere.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out how to do that for my phone.
Sometimes technology is useful. Actually, what I'm showing you here, this video is actually, if you look at, the URL, you see it's some localhost port 32399 instead of the fully qualified URL. That's, a tunneled connection to my local machine that I can only access this way, or, tunneled way, because I have the VPN active.
So Taneem, it looks like we're seeing historical data leading up to the present moment. Do you have access to or any opinions about forecasted projections into coming weeks and months and quarters?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use some kind of Gaussian process regressor just to tell you what it's going to be, or you could do some kind of cross-validation. Okay, that in the sense of, okay, look at some, few weeks or a month before and see how well you predict the trend up to that point. I haven't done data sciencey stuff like that, but it's at least easy for me to prepare the data set for others to take a look at. It's actually a bunch of pandas data frames that I have, at a low level, that from which these, movies and figures are created.
I'd love to get a presentation on pandas in the future. Although, Taneem, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to work on your microphone setup. You get some sort of galloping sound going on in the background. It's something else. But this is awesome. All right. Well, it's getting close to the end of the time we have allotted here. Does anyone else have anything they want to show and tell today? Or should we start wrapping
up? For people who are interested in such things, want to learn all the time, AWS reInvent is still going on. I think this coming week, the 12th, for several days. There's a lot more free stuff available for people who want to learn.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for speaking today, Violet. That was a great presentation on Discord bots, and pretty cool what you're doing to support your streamer friends, and a nice start into what I have no doubt will be an awesome package knowledge base there, Robert. And thanks for showing us your projects there, Taneem.
Yeah,
So
you're welcome.
we're always looking for new speakers. Taneem, I don't want to fully put you on the spot here, but if you or anyone
I
else
actually
is
have
interested in
some
talking,
presentations prepared that I gave to, I think, the Pi RVA, the Richmond, Virginia Python
cool.
users group. Basically, a bunch of sort of relatively simple, media manipulation executables that I've created. For instance, creating animated GIFs from MP4s, things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think are practically useful because, its functionality is very simple and it just works. And I could give a presentation on that if you want.
Well, yeah, we would love that.
There's also one more informal on sort of.
Cool. Yeah, we'll talk on Discord and we'll follow up on that. All right, cool. And we've got a mailing list too. Take a screenshot. Really, the Discord's where it's at. But thanks everyone for your time. Let's see, announcements for the year. I'm guessing based on that map we saw from Taneem, we're going to be doing this mostly on Zoom for a while now. So anyone got any clever ways to do online stuff or programming we could be adding to the lineup, new content we could be generating, whatever. Yeah, let us know. We're on Slack and Discord, and you'll probably find me on Facebook and LinkedIn if you look. Woody Hooten. Anyone got any announcements for this week before we wrap up? For this month?
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. All right, guys. Well, take her easy. We'll see you again next month in February. First week, is it? What, February what? I don't know. It's on the meetup. I'll be posting a link to this later. The YouTube will be wrapping up shortly. Anyway, thanks everyone. See you again in a month.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.